Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BeerDad and Brewed Podcast. As always, I am your host, the BeerDad himself, Justin Allen, and I'm joined with a special co-host today. We have Brandon here in the house. What's up, Brandon?
Hello there. How's it going?
Hello there. And as always, the BeerDad and Brewed Podcast is brought to you by the Craft Lounge, Beaumont, California, just north of the 10 freeway. You can get all the delicious craft beers, both in the Inland Empire and all over the country, and in fact, all over the world. Go see Jimmy. Tell him the BeerDad and Brewed Podcast sent you.
Yes, sir.
We are here, Brandon, for OctoberFest. You can hear the German music in the background, and we are at Kings Brewing / KBC Lagerhaus in Rancho Cucamonga, California, just like we were last year. And we are joined by some special guests today. We have the marketing manager, Logan Benson, in the house. What's up, Logan?
What's going on, man?
We are also joined by one of the assistant brewers, Daniel Guido. What's up, buddy?
Howdy. How's
he was
going?
Actually on last year's episode, if you guys can remember. He was really 3 sheets to the wind. So we caught him right now before he just got here. So he's only, what, 1 beer in, 2 beers in?
Half one.
Okay, good. All right. I like it. Appreciate it. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man.
Welcome.
So stoked to be here for OctoberFest. I got the lederhosen rocking. We've had a few beers. We actually just got poked by the brewmaster himself.
Yeah.
Had to limp over to the table.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah,
Sitting a little awkward, it looks like.
Yeah, it was pleasant, but yes, we did get poked. But yeah, we got beer poked. Get your mind out of the gutters, listeners. Jeremiah, the brewmaster over there, he had a very hot rod and he poked our beer, and it was actually a really cool experience. First time I've ever had my beer poked, because we were drinking a Marzen, a beautiful Marzen that was brewed special for OctoberFest here at Kings Brewing. We're gonna sample some of that here in a minute.
Oh yeah.
But basically, you take a rod heated to what, Logan, 500-ish degrees, something like that.
Yeah, probably around there. It's just
Hot.
sitting in the coals.
You don't want to touch it. But once it hits the beer, it basically caramelizes all the sugars, and it changes the profile of the beer. And so what I noticed was you go from a Marzen, and this Marzen was really cool. I was telling Brandon when we were drinking it before we got poked that it had a nice, like, nutty character to it.
Yeah.
And it was really enjoyable. But when you had it poked, it's just a different experience. It made it creamier, almost like a cream ale.
Yeah.
And then it was weird. As you're drinking it, I chugged it. Warm, cold, with a little bit of smoke to it and sweeter. So kind of cool. You gotta check
Definitely
that out.
a unique experience.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool that you
man,
guys are doing that this year.
That juxtaposition between warm and cold is like
It was wild in the mouth.
Man,
It is.
It's unlike anything, man. Like,
If you guys
gotta come out and try it.
If you guys get the chance before the fire's out with a stout, or with the stout is really
yeah. I didn't even think about that.
good. The sugars in the stout, it
I'll bet.
caramelizes all the way through.
I'll
They're
bet.
really nice. Really nice.
That sounds exciting. So we're here, Kings Brewing, Rancho Cucamonga, California, for OctoberFest. It is September 17th, and we mentioned this on a live video. People ask, why the hell are you celebrating OctoberFest in September? Well, and I told you the history of OctoberFest, and today's actually the first day of OctoberFest in Germany, so
Yep.
booyah. But we are here and we're celebrating, and Kings Brewing took on a new project called KBC Lagerhaus, and it's really, really cool that they did it. Jeremiah absolutely fell in love with the lager program, both Czech style and German style, and kind of brought it home here. And it's really cool to see, because we saw it in its infancy last year, right? And here we are 1 year later, and we have a selection of 4 different styles of beers that are here for OctoberFest. We've already partaken. But we're gonna sample some here on the air. We'll talk about them, and it's cool because we have 2 sides of the house here, marketing and / brewing, so we can hear both sides of it. But we'll dive in. We'll check out one of them to start with. So what do we want to start with? We'll let Logan decide.
I think we should let Daniel decide.
What do you think?
Let's see.
A little more familiar with
We
the
have the
process.
Marzen. We have the Pilsner. What's on this side?
Probably Helles
Helles
and the dark lager.
The dark lager. Well, Marzen's fresh.
Okay.
I say start with the Marzen.
All right,
Start with the
let's
Marzen.
go.
All right,
Yo,
let's do it.
the only
ahead,
problem
guys.
is there's 4 of us.
I'm just realizing,
Yeah.
You guys go right ahead. I'll take half of Logan's.
There you go. All right, we'll do
We
that.
work together. We're pretty
Cool.
much.
Daniel, you can do the honors.
I'll
There
take
you
the
go.
first. All right.
So
Cheers for now.
Yeah, Prost, as they say in the motherland. Yeah.
Prost, guys.
KBC Lagerhaus. There we go. That's good, man. That's really good.
Definitely nice.
Very, very nice. Anybody that has looked forward to the Oktoberfest season when it comes to beers, you look for that. That right there is like, I don't know, the basic craft beer drinker version of a pumpkin spice latte. The Marzen. It really is.
That year round.
It really is. You wait for it to come out around September-ish, right? Sometimes you even see it in August.
Yeah.
And because you don't get it year round.
Right.
And it's just a cool, it really is. There's a lot of, malty character. There's, like I said, this one I'm getting some nutty character, which is really cool. And, oh, man, it's delicious.
It's nice. It's real like bready. I'm a huge fan of it. I'm a huge fan
Yeah.
of it.
Those Wetzel's pretzels that we had. By the way, Wetzel's pretzels is here at Kings.
Yeah.
That would taste perfect pairing right there.
There you go.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I love that. Like, this just tastes different than your traditional Marzen, your traditional Oktoberfest, Like, you got the basics there and the basis, but it kind of takes it to that almost like nutty level or just like a different level, like what you were saying, Justin. It's just, it's
I almost
beautiful.
feel like I get like a subtle honey backbone, like very like just certain notes that you would taste in like a wildflower honey or something.
That's fair.
It could just be the nuttiness or the maltiness.
Yeah.
I can see it.
All right.
I remember. Like I was saying, I don't mind tasting just a little of each, just because I tasted these things every step of the way, all the way through. So
Yeah.
it's like
These
I've
are your
gotten
babies
those,
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten those honey notes. I've gotten those, biscuit notes. I've gotten the XY. But I'm really happy with the way all these came out.
Yeah, man.
This
It's
is
at
a
nice place.
This is Marzen style beer. The flavors and everything that you guys are hearing us talking about. Perfect pairing. I mentioned pretzels, anything bready. Also, what's being served here by El Compa hot dogs. Get a nice sausage with it. You get that really nice, rich, meaty sausage and pair it with some Marzen.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect pairing, and that's why they do it in Germany. It's really weird though over there. Like, so for those that have not been to Oktoberfest, I mentioned earlier about my hat and how the lady came and gave me my pin on the hat, right? Hengst. It means like thoroughbred or strong horse. But also, you have the pretzel person that comes by and sells the giant pretzels that are bigger than your head, and I ate more than I could count. But it helps because it absorbs the alcohol, so the next thing you know, you're drinking more, and you're not even drunk. But then you're full. But what's really crazy about the sausages over there, this was crazy. I laughed at my brother because my brother partook. There's a sausage lady that comes around, and she literally just slaps sausages on the table. Like, you're not walking up to a hot dog person. Like, she just has sausage, and she has them in, like, a little, like, pouch on her, like, drindle or whatever. And my brother, I'd turn around, and he's just, like, snapping on some sausages, and I'm like, where'd you get those?
You're like, oh, all right.
A vendor lady. And I watched her. She was walking around selling sausages. I'm like, so it's like a baseball game when they sell like peanuts and popcorn. They sell sausages at Oktoberfest. So it's kind of crazy.
There's a lot of innuendos going on.
Poking sausage.
Yeah.
We literally mean sausage.
Yeah. Come on, you sick freaks,
We need to get on that for next year. Get a
just,
sausage lady walking around here.
dude. I'm telling you, it's so random. She just like slapped the sausage on the table, and they're like, "What the heck is going on here?" But yeah, definitely worth the experience. But this Marzen's really good, so shout out to the brewers, Daniel, D, and Jeremiah, everybody that had their hands and cookies into this Marzen. Definitely great job.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, I just love the unique spin you guys put on it. It doesn't taste like it's got definitely, your traditional Marzen qualities, but it's just like it's got its own unique spin on it. And it's just really beautiful.
Just like Justin was saying, it's almost like that how, as a craft beer, you look for that fall taste, that Oktoberfest taste. And it has that basic taste in there, but with the twist, with like a KBC twist,
Something familiar but also unique at the same time.
Exactly.
I love that.
Absolutely. Well, we've got more beer to drink, gentlemen. So,
Love to hear that.
Oh
man! See what else we got. And before we move to the next beer, we'll ask a quick question here. What is and we'll go around the table. Favorite thing about Oktoberfest in general? So we'll start with Logan. What's your favorite thing about Oktoberfest?
Honestly, even though I'm not partaking, probably the Lederhosen.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it was just poor planning on my part. I was so stoked, and I looked at prices, and I was like, I can't do that right now. There's short notice.
Next year,
I'm gonna blow you guys all away now.
All right. I want to see those thigh highs, brother. I want to see them. Yeah, get those thigh hies.
No long
those
johns for you.
I'm coming for you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Skies out, thighs out. All right, Logan.
Oh yeah.
That's right. What do we say about Daniel when he showed up to Cholo Fest? I can't remember what we said.
How you gonna do my man like that?
Oktoberfest or something like that.
Cholo-toberfest.
Oktoberfest.
I like it. That's right. Yeah. So, all right. So, favorite things, Lederhosen for Logan. What about you, Daniel? What do you got?
I mean, super freaking cheesy, but the craft beer community as a whole comes together pretty well.
Yeah.
In general, everyone's usually pretty nice about everything. Everyone's pretty accepting about everything, but come Oktoberfest, everyone's excited.
Yeah.
Everyone's excited for the general of the same thing, for the different beers that are coming out this time, for Oktoberfest music and everything that comes along with it. I feel like it's a community that everything's just excited for, almost like Christmas, right?
Bring together the community. I love that you say that because, the firsthand experience going to Oktoberfest in Germany, it's no different. People from all walks of life, religions, nationalities, races. It's insane to see, like, it truly is an international festival. It's not a German festival. And to walk into that festival and experience, like, people from all over the place. Like, I mean, I had so many crazy experiences. I had an Australian fella grab me by the crotch.
Oh, there you go.
And he grabs me by the crotch and he goes, "Are you an Aussie, mate?" And I was like, "Bro, I'm United States, American." "Oh, American, we love Americans." And I was like, I didn't know that was the official greeting.
Yeah.
And I know we have listeners in Australia, so if somebody wants to write me and tell me about that, I'd like to know.
I think
if that was just a random crotch grabbing.
I'm looking at dual citizenship for Australia.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to say hello. But so there was that, and then I was telling Brandon about it, like the table that we sat at in, I believe, the Hofbrau House. It was, myself, my brother, uncle, and friend that we went on the trip with. And then we had a German family that we met, and we were hanging out with them. And then we also had a family from Brazil. So we were all sitting at the same table. We all could communicate with each other over the beer. The Oompa bands were playing Americanized style Oompa music. So it was like Blink-182, Green Day, Sweet Caroline was playing, but Oompa version. Like, it was crazy. We were all singing. We were standing on top of the tables and dancing. Like, it was just like, man, it didn't matter where we were from, what our race was, what our political affiliation was. It was dope. And that's why I recommend Oktoberfest to everybody. So like you said, it brings people together. And I think more people, if you haven't partaken in an Oktoberfest, you absolutely have to partake in it.
It's a blast.
Oh, yeah. Sounds awesome.
So, Brandon, what's your favorite thing about Oktoberfest?
Look, man, I hate to be the guy that just echoes or repeats what someone else said, but like Daniel. No, I mean, hey, Lederhosen is great, but like the communal aspects of Oktoberfest is a beautiful thing. The fact that it's become almost like a holiday here in the United States, where it's like. It's something that like all the breweries, they brew for it, they celebrate it, they plan for it. As we're here now at Kings Brewing. It's really one of the most like beer forward holidays of the year that's like internationally celebrated, and I just love that, man. There's something about like when it's getting to be like late August and it's been super hot here in Southern California where we all live. And you're just looking forward to that fall season where it's like, all right, we're almost there. We're just going to get through that hot weather, and then it's going to start cooling down a little bit. We're going to get to enjoy that tasty Marzen, that tasty fest beer. There's something about just that vibe, how like how Oktoberfest hits like right at the end of summer and the beginning of fall. I love that feeling. I love that vibe. I love the community. Yeah.
I think on top of that, though, like he said, especially us being from Southern California, we're all excited for this heat to be over. So as soon as a nice day comes around, I'm ready to get out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Logan, you and I, us big fellas.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
We can definitely appreciate
This is my
weather.
first summer
Or
out
a
here,
former
too.
big fella, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know what
Trader.
I know.
Yeah, trader.
I know what it was like. I remember those days.
Let me tell you something. I had biscuits and gravy this morning. It was delicious. Just thought I'd throw that out.
I get to drink beer now. It's okay.
There you go. That's true. Cheers. So, all right, for me, my favorite thing about Oktoberfest, other than the community aspect and the Lederhosen and all that,
Of course.
I'm going to shout out the ladies in the Drindles, man. Amazing,
of
beautiful
course.
women,
Yeah.
rocking the
Absolutely.
Drindles. Especially if you go to Oktoberfest over there, I mean, just all walks of life from every country. Beautiful women, and they're just having a good time and wearing this traditional garb, that, if you will. It's just crazy because, obviously they don't wear that in normal life, but everyone wears it, and it's just kind of the norm over there. And you go on the subway and the bus, and everybody's dressed to lederhosens and drindles, and it's just really cool experience. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like, to see somebody from like Japan
Yeah.
in lederhosen and drindles, like it's really cool. But yeah, the women really pull it off. I think obviously, Daniel and I were some good looking dudes in some lederhosen. Jeremiah pulls it off good, but I shout out to the ladies. They definitely rock that stuff for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Love it.
Good answer.
And the beer, obviously the beer.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's a big
beer.
deal. And the cool thing about Oktoberfest over there is, you order your beer and it comes in a liter stein. And, you're like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to drink a dozen of these.
Yeah.
You're half a dozen in, and you're like, maybe that was a bad idea. Right? Where's the water closet, as we called it over there? And it's a lot of beer, a lot of liquid for sure. So.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's get into the second beer. So, Daniel, what are we doing?
Let's get the middles out the way. How about that dark lager?
Dark lager. I like your choice. This is the BeerDad's jam right now. If everybody knows, I keep talking about it's like my favorite style right now. It's anything black lager, dark lager. Just I like the fact that I can drink a lot of it and not be like feeling heavy like if I was drinking stouts and porters.
Absolutely.
But I can still get the flavor characteristics.
Yeah.
Get some coffee, some chocolate notes, all that kind of stuff. Brandon and I did a chug of a milk pour of the dark lager earlier, and it was straight chocolate milk, man.
Yeah.
It was
So good.
Yeah, that was dope, dude. Highly encouraged. You got to come to Kings Brewing because they do the Czech style pours, and get a milk pour. It's so good, dude. Like, people look at it and they're like, you're literally just drinking foam, but you don't understand.
Not till you try it.
You don't understand.
Not till you try it.
No, it's definitely an experience.
You have to check it out. It's definitely worth it. So, you can vouch for it. I think you got a video of that, Logan. You're gonna.
Oh, yeah.
You got to send that to me so I can
Absolutely.
post it too. But
Yeah, the beautiful thing about a milk pour is that it's almost designed like you order the milk pour and then you order the slow pour. So like you have your milk pour while you're waiting for your slow pour. So the way it's designed, like, I mean, it's beautiful.
yeah,
You know? Like,
double your money here at Kings Brewing. I
Yeah,
like
right.
that.
exactly.
Yeah,
In
2
fact-
for 1 deal.
In fact, that was
Exactly.
sold to us by the brewmaster himself over there. Jeremiah's like, we're gonna go get some
make
slow
sure-
pours. He goes, hey, you should get a milk pour while you're
Get a
at
milk
it.
pour while you're waiting. Hey, man,
$35 later, here we are. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not
Life
complaining.
hack.
That's right. That's right. Life hack. Hashtag milk pour. Check it out on TikTok, I promise. All right, so we're going to dive into this dark lager. So I already know I'm going to like it. So you already have I don't even have to drink it.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
But, man, just on the nose on this,
Great nose.
you get the same nose as a porter.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so nice.
That is so good. God damn, that's good.
I love the
I love
coffee. The coffee notes in this is so. I love it.
Yeah, so anybody that's never had a dark lager, black lager, whatever they're calling it these days, a Dunkelweiss style of beer,
There you go.
which would be more common for, German style. You have to have it because if you want that bold flavor, the chocolate, the coffee flavor, but you don't want to be like bloated or you still want to be able to eat dinner, order it. I promise you're not going to be disappointed. I've seen people that are like, I don't like dark beer.
I was just about to say
I
that.
don't like dark beer. And then they order it and they're like, no, I don't like dark beer. And I'm like, okay. And then next thing you know, they're back for round 2.
Yeah.
And they're like, there's so much flavor in that.
Yeah.
But I don't feel heavy. And I'm like, dude, it's like, this is like the perfect, to me, whoever came up with, Dunkelweiss style beer, dark lagers, black lagers, like, commended, highly commended, because that's my go-to right now. It's my favorite. So whenever I see a brewery make it, that's usually like I'll snag 4-pack or a couple 4-packs and stick them in the fridge, because I would rather crush those poolside than a regular lager.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
I usually just crush triple IPAs by the pool.
I like that.
My man.
Logan, going big.
People, and I feel like, Daniel, you were kind of reacting to this. Like, people think, like, they make that association. They hear dark beer, and they think, oh, it's going to be this heavy thing. It's like drinking, like, a bottle of milk or whatever. And, like, it can be that, but it's not necessarily that.
Yeah.
No.
And I mean, I hear Justin say it all the time. The craft beer is so fantastic because there's so many different options, and anyone who says they don't like beer, you'll find something you like. There's
That's right.
always options, and I feel like, if, like you said, if you're not a fan of dark beers, if you say, oh, I don't drink porters, I don't drink stouts, I don't drink, XYZ, try a dark lager.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
And if you really want a great experience, eat some barbecue with it. And
I don't think
mind-blowing.
I've done that.
I haven't either, but
You're like, well, now I know what I'm doing the
it's
rest
on
of the
my
weekend.
to-do list. Sunday morning brunch.
Dude, all right, here's I'm going to set you guys up. Take yourself a weekend, head out to the Palm Springs area and hit up Babe's Brew House.
Oh.
They have a Blackfin lager that is award-winning. It's to die for. Juan, the brewer, does an amazing job out there. But the food at Babe's Brew House, one of the best barbecue joints in all of Southern California. You got to drive out to the desert for it. But amazing barbecue food, and you pair it with that lager, dude. Oh man, this is the dark lager with any of their barbecue choices, whether you want brisket, tri-tip, ribs, or all of it. Like, usually I get the combo plate with all the different meats.
I mean, that's kind of the only way.
That's the
so.
standby.
I was gonna say, you really get
Yeah.
there's other options.
Anytime you go, although I did last time I went there, I tried their tomahawk pork chop, and it had like a apple cider Romulade sauce on top of it.
I'll take 2.
Stupid good. Yeah, but yeah, barbecue and dark lager definitely pairs together. You got to try it. I promise. And then try it, and then hit me up. Hit the DM. Tell me what happened.
Noted.
Mind-blowing experience. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, good beer. Amazing job on this
Excellent
one.
beer. Hey, while we're finishing this, I would love to talk to, Logan, Daniel, you guys more about your experience of working at Kings Brewing, especially because, I was telling Justin earlier, he was like, hey, we're going to have a chance to, talk to some of the folks that work at Kings.
Yeah.
And, I feel like a lot of people might assume that, if you work in beer, you work for a brewery, perhaps, that entails just brewing the beer or pouring the beer. But obviously there's a lot of
there's a
roles
lot of moving pieces.
A lot of work.
Absolutely, man. So I would love to hear from you of just how you kind of got into your role and what that role entails. And if, I was listening to this podcast and I wanted to have a job like you, how would I go about getting something like that?
My story is kind of a unique one. So I started my own business selling hand-blown beer glasses. And I traveled the country for about a year networking with different breweries and brewery owners because I was like, I want to be in this industry. And I just kicked the fucking door down and was like, hey, check this out. Hey, I'm Logan. What's up? And I just met a bunch of people and through my business met Jeremiah and ended up working the job here. So I couldn't actually give anyone any advice from a practical sense.
No, that's
unless
cool,
you want
though,
to start
because-
your own business. And
Yeah, no, because you kind of took a love for one thing and a talent in one thing and kind of parlayed that into beer. And I don't know if you had a love or interest in beer prior to that.
oh yeah, I was a huge beer fan.
Yeah, so there you go.
I think it was the pandemic mainly. Is just you being stuck home. You got a lot of extra time. Started some new hobbies, met some people, and I was like, I want to do something with this. And the rest is history.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's like, people that love beer that, perhaps have their degrees in other things or, have pursued other things in their lives, they can still make a career in beer.
Oh, yeah.
If,
it's a fun industry to work in, too, yeah. I'm sure.
Photo op.
I'm sure Daniel would probably echo that. It's an awesome industry to work in. I mean,
I would. Daniel, how'd you kind of get your foot in the Kings?
I would say I probably have an even less practical story than Logan.
This is a good one.
So my brother actually used to be one of the brewers here for Kings. My brother's known Jeremiah before they opened Kings, and he worked for them for a few years. And when I'm 23, 24, I'm 24 right now. So I was like, when I was 21, they told me like, hey, we need someone to help us can. I was like, all right, I'll can. And then immediately I was like, oh, this is cool. And he was like, oh, you should come on a Saturday one day when we brew, like check out what we do. I was like, oh, all right, I'll give it a shot. Like, I'll see what it's like. And immediately I just immediately fell in love with it. The process of it, the idea of putting in this, it's not easy. It's hard work. It's heavy. Everything's hot. Everything's heavy. You're just sweating your butt off. And at the end of the day, at the end of a couple months, you get a nice beer of it. So that's what I fell in love with, the idea of really seeing, what comes out of your hard work. When I started, it was towards the beginning of the pandemic, and that's when frosés were flying off the shelf. You couldn't keep one in stock, and it was so nice to see like, oh, this product that I'm contributing to, that I'm making, is so desired and so wanted, and it made me then seek out like, well, shoot, if I'm doing this, I wonder what this brewery's doing over here, and then I got to know that brewer, and then I got to know that brewer, and I just introduced myself here and there, and I fell in love with the community aspect of it, with literally every aspect from the bottom up of brewing. I fell in love with it.
I was gonna say too, the community in this industry is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, you can be a brewer. I mean, technically everyone's competing, right? Breweries across the country are competing with each other, but you can be like, hey, how do you make your sours? Oh yeah, so we do this, and we like, wait, when you're doing your IPAs, we do this, we do it at this temp. Like, it's such a community where everyone's so open and transparent, just because it's all people doing something they love, working together,
Yeah, man.
It's like, unlike any other industry, honestly.
It's like, perhaps like the specificity of a recipe might be proprietary, but like the general, like, hey, here's how you do things.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and I Justin, I know you talked about this a lot on the podcast, like, the brewing industry is like, hey, like, how do we help other breweries, other brewers, other people do what we do? Because if we can create a whole army, a whole nation of people that, 100%. Are doing what we do, then that's only going to help me. That's going to help my community. That's help my people. So, like, let's just bolster people. Let's support this whole community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, that's really allowed, why there's been, over the past couple of years, this beautiful expansion of all these breweries and, sprouting in all these communities that perhaps might not have had that. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool to see, everybody come together, and I really think the pandemic had a lot to do with it. Before breweries, they would do collabs, like a once a year kind of thing.
Yeah, like special occasions.
Then during the pandemic, it's like, let's get on Zoom, let's get on Teams, let's do all these collabs, and it's, because we had a lot of free time. Couldn't have the tap rooms open, and it was just a really cool thing to see some of these heavy hitter breweries. Like, you got a Mortalis hat on, Mortalis and Kings getting together. That's like ridiculous. I mean, that's like two of the big powerhouses getting together. Like, things like that started happening.
Even Drecker, and we just said the Drecker
collab.
and
Kings,
it's just stuff.
It's crazy.
I got the dredges of that keg.
Yeah.
I think as this is recorded, I think there might be like a small bit of that.
Yeah.
But when I was waiting in line, one of the cool things at Kings Brewery is they have this beautiful system where they'll tell you how much is left in the keg that, is on draft.
Yeah.
And, I saw that was like towards the end. I was like, oh, I gotta get a little bit.
It's good marketing right there, Logan.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, though, the community aspect of it, not the only, but one of the biggest things that puts a fire under any brewers, but to try and make the better version of what they've made, is to hear someone say like, oh yeah, you made this dark lager, this is good. I had a really good one at Enegrin, or I had a really good one at so, and so now I'm like, well, now I got to step it up.
You're like, oh, all right.
All right, well, now I got to try and beat that. And then when they hear, oh, Kings has a good version of this, I hope they say, like, oh, well, now we got to make a better version. And it just makes the beer game even stronger.
Yep. And that's a testament to Jeremiah and some of the things that he does here for the brewery. Obviously he does, he travels and does all this crazy stuff. But, I mean, KBC Lagerhaus is here, and I suspect that it had a lot to do with his visits to Bierstadt Lagerhaus in Colorado during GABF, because he came back and that's all he talked about. And then shortly thereafter,
what a coincidence,
KBC Lagerhaus was born. So, and it's great because we don't have anything like that next to Enegrin. But for me, I mean, you're lucky, you're closer to Enegrin, but they're way out there, so it's cool to have somebody a little closer that's doing these styles of beers that we all love. But yeah, it's the pandemic definitely helped out to a lot of the brewers. Like Jeremiah was telling us earlier, a little candid, on the books interview about how the pandemic is, where they made a ton of money because they grew the business during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I remember coming here and the line being out to the street up there of people here to get frosés and and the IPAs and stuff like that. Of course, I always would partake in the line, and I met some really cool people in the line, and that's where I got some of my podcast business from here, listen to my podcast. Yeah, you're standing in line for an hour and a half. Check out the BeerDad and Brewed Podcast.
Yeah, might as well listen to that.
Yeah, you get some suggestions of some good beers to drink. But it's crazy, and kudos to Jeremiah on growing the business during a trying time, because some people weren't able to grow their business and they ended up closing up shop. But he grew it, and like he was saying before, I've been here since the humble beginnings. I remember coming here in just this small little spot, and they had the plastic fermenters,
a third of the size, whiteboard menus, and
then here you are now with this beautiful beer garden that they built up, and an additional brewery. Yeah. You got a seltzer program. You got all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's pretty dope.
And we brought back the Cali tarts just recently.
We just tasted that. Yeah. So look for that. Cali Tart Paloma, this flavor, that was insane. Logan's all 9%. I'm like, there's no way that's 9%.
Oh yeah.
I would be in so much trouble if I was like out on the boat with one of those. Like I'd be like, all right, give me another.
Yeah. 6 later.
Yeah. Then really I'd probably be like Daniel was last year at the end of the Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
I really wish I could see some video of this.
You don't.
I might. I might.
It's smart because like it really tastes like a canned cocktail, and obviously
crazy.
like cocktail, like canned cocktails, that kind of whole vibe is becoming such a thing right now.
It is, yeah.
That for the Kings Empire to get into that that's a smart.
I like
smart
it.
Move.
It's cool that with the nice thing about brewing is there's so many different things that you can do, and so to be able to diversify yourself and have a little hand in everything. It's like one of those things where like you flash back, 10 years ago, most brewers, I would never make a seltzer.
Oh yeah.
Never. And it's like most guys when they're like, I would never get married. Never.
Yeah.
19 years later with 3 kids, miserable. No, I love you, babe. But
sounds familiar.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, seltzers are big. These cocktails are I'm starting to see that is that's a great job. Who's behind the cocktail, Daniel? Who's the mastermind behind that?
Behind the flavors or behind the creations?
The creations.
So me and Dee do all the brewing.
Yeah.
We tag team every brew.
Yeah.
It's brewing on the scale is a lot for one person, period. So every brew gets tag team between 2 people, and it's me and Dee.
Yeah.
We have people come in all the time and help us out. Jeremiah comes in very often and help us out. We have just different people cycle in and help us out. But for the most part, it's me and Dee that make these. We fruit these, we make these.
Good job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, man.
That's stupid.
Yo,
That's stupid.
I would love to, as we tee up the next beer, I would love to hear more from, both Logan and Daniel. Like, take us through, like, day to day. Like, somebody
What's it
working
like?
your job, you got, I realize the specificity of Kings might be different from another brewery, but, like, what does it look like, somebody in your position, to do the job that you guys do? Because obviously you guys do it very well. Just curious.
I mean, on my end, it's a lot of planning, a lot of scheduling, coordinating with vendors. It's honestly, it sounds more boring than I make it sound, where I'm like, this industry's so great. But, like, I mean, it's honestly just a lot of planning, planning events, booking food vendors, doing graphic design to create flyers, merchandise design. Just a lot of moving pieces. I'm the marketing manager, but I wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, when I rolled up, like, you were one of the first faces, Logan, that I saw here. Like, you have a huge presence, and, like, I saw you.
Huge guy.
I
know a little bit about that. Yeah, I know a little bit about that.
No, but I mean, dude, I saw you, capturing content, but then you're also in the tap room and you're doing stuff like that, like, yeah. No,
I'm constantly
awesome,
running around. Just, I feel like a brewery is like a living, breathing thing. You gotta. It's like as much of a day where I can spend 10 hours just on emails and graphic design. There could be another day where it's just capturing content or talking to food vendors or helping set up and decorate for something like this. Like, it's all over the place.
So does a brewery like Kings, like they hire someone like you, and is it like, okay, you need to design all of the graphic design, or you're coordinating that with all of like?
Oh no, I do everything.
Wow.
I don't do the label design. That's a little above my skill set. But, like, any kind of flyers or, like, any promotional stuff on Instagram, that's all me.
Wow.
And I designed a couple T-shirts as well that we sell. But
Nice.
That's awesome, man.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to work for a brewery and be like, yeah, I made that shirt.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of feel you with that, with the branding of the podcast and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
It's a fun feeling.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, or like, what's really cool is, like, just being randomly out in public and then seeing somebody wearing one of our shirts, or it's probably the same for you. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
weird, right? Or if somebody, and then for me, obviously, because of a face or whatever, being noticed.
Yeah.
Like, my wife, she's like, I forget where we were at, and somebody was like, hey, you're the BeerDad guy. And she was like, you enjoyed that, didn't you?
You just walked out, your chest puffed up a little bit.
You gonna make some ugly brewer shirts?
Yeah,
He needs
maybe.
to.
We'll see.
Yeah, man. You need
We'll
to.
see. Let's get at least 50 followers.
You're gonna get more, because I'm gonna, like, tag you in pictures, and I'm gonna say, follow this fucker, and you're gonna get more. You're gonna get more. Yeah, I promise.
So Daniel, take us through this beer that we're drinking right now, and then tell us, like, what does a day of work look like for you? Like, you clock in, what goes down for an assistant brewer?
So right now we're drinking, this is the Hellas Lager. This one's
delicious.
Really nice, real crisp.
Very nice.
Always a fan.
Very nice.
There you go, very nice. I like. That's kind of the funny that we were just talking about that. My Instagram, that was kind of my whole point of making it. The Ugly Brewer was the idea that, you go on Instagram and you go under #craft beer, and you're only gonna find perfect pours and people with perfectly clean tanks and no mess ups and no nothing. The only time you find the mess ups is when you look up beer fails.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not a fail. That's part of the process.
Right. Or the meme pages like Hayes Boys and, and Wort Wrangler and all that kind of stuff.
Those guys are fantastic. I love it. But no, I mean, it's you can call it a fail all day, but that's part of the process. In order to get something good, you gotta fail a couple times. You gotta mess up here and there. So we clock in, and ideally, when everything goes right, first things first, it depends what the day is. If we're setting up, it might be canning, which can take a good portion of our day, 5-6 hours of the day is just canning beer. Or if it's a brew, a brew, which, a lot of people just assume you just show up and, turn on the hot water, put the grain and start brewing. But the grain had to get milled, the recipe had to be made, all the hoses had to be laid out, the fermentation had to be cleaned and sanitized, it had to be sterilized, it had to be taken apart, top to bottom. It's 3 days of prepping before you could even turn on water.
It's one of those things where I always say with brewing, prep and cleanup is way longer than the actual brewing itself.
Easy. And then especially you don't want to have a dirty system. And if you have a system that has a lot of ins and outs, you got to clean every single pipe. You got to make sure your cleaning solution is getting in every nook and cranny. And you can't afford to have 13, 14, 15 barrels of beer go bad because you forgot to scrub a port.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
You hear all the horror stories all the time of people that say like, oh yeah, sanitization is key. Like I made one mistake.
Never again.
Yeah. So, kind of like what you're saying, So that's you feel like that's like a key aspect of like assistant brewer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have people come in and we just did a recent collaboration. I believe it was Haze for Days was the collaboration. And we had people come in and, they were fantastic. But you can see that they assume that it was like, press start, through the beer, done. It was like, this is
if
a
it was
lot.
only that easy.
There's a lot of ugly behind that,
Yeah,
for sure, man.
I mean, they got that machine that you can put on your countertop, the Mr. Brewer. I don't know.
I've seen that too, man. Yeah.
I can't imagine those beers are very good, though. I can't imagine.
And even if they're good, there's something about the blood, sweat, and tears.
It is.
That goes into brewing.
You taste it.
No, this right
you don't
here.
taste it, but you taste it.
We are tasting blood, sweat, and tears from Dee and Daniel right here.
Yes, sir.
But to really answer your question, there is no day-to-day,
It's different every
It's
day.
different. It depends what we're doing. Every day you end the day with trub dumps and gravities, and that's just my sign. It's ready to go home and relax for a little bit, crack a beer on my own. But
What's your least favorite thing to do as a brewer?
where do I start?
Because I can tell you mine.
Okay,
but I'll
let's
let
hear
you
it.
go first. No, you go first.
Okay.
Yeah,
My
what's your least favorite thing?
Only because we have so many ports on our fermenters, and by the end of unscrewing and screwing them all, my thumbs are just absolutely killed. But other than that, just cleaning fermenters. I'm not a huge fan.
The cleaning part sucks. It really does. I'm not gonna lie. That's the shitty part. But for me, I have zero lack of patience, and so it's the waiting of the fermentation process. It really is. Yeah.
But if you have like 15 projects at a time, by the time you ferment one, you're like, oh my God, this one's ready.
Yeah.
You don't even realize it's ready.
Yeah. But on the home brewing side, it's like, fuck, dude, come on, hurry up. I wanna taste this. Like, I'm not.
You're telling me this Hellas was in there for like 3 months?
3 months. Well, we were, we had the privilege of sampling some Vienna lager, which was absolutely lovely.
Yes,
Thank you, Jeremiah. And that's only
been going for
49 days, he
only.
said. And it's still got to go to 90 days before you guys are ready to can it or put it on tap, whatever you guys are
You
going to
still
do.
got a while to go.
Yeah, and it's still, right now, I would fucking put that shit on tap. It was delicious.
I know. It's funny. It's so funny you say that, Justin, because like when he gave it to us, it was so good. I almost forgot that like it wasn't
Not ready.
Not ready?
because he was like insecure. He was like, "Hey, just so you know, that's got another like 40 days." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." I was like, "Man, if somebody
You're like,
poured
"Can I
this
get
to me in
another
the
one?"
tap room, yeah, if somebody gave this to me in the tap room, I would be totally fine."
Oh man, it had
It was so good.
it had that beautiful like amber hue to it, like a Vienna lager. Amazing head, caramelized, like almost like a beige head, and it had really good head retention. I'm like, fuck, dude, pull that shit. Sell it. But you don't get Vienna lager very often. One of my favorite Vienna lagers from Brooklyn Brewing. They make a damn fine Vienna lager, the Brooklyn lager. But that one right there, that's going to be a home run for anybody that likes a lager with a little bit more oomph and flavor to it.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are going to do well with that one, I think. So,
Thank you.
listen to the BeerDad and Brewed Podcast. You get to hear a little bit of the future here. What's coming out? What's new? So, 49 days. He says 90. So, you're roughly 30 days, about a month and a couple weeks from tasting what we got to taste.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
No,
What's going on over here?
let's see.
Oh, look, Jeremiah already changed.
Oh,
Shocking.
shoot. In and out.
But now he's poking people. There's a whole group of people getting poked.
He just needed to get comfortable to keep poking.
Yeah, he just needed a little quick break.
I don't blame him. It's
Oh,
hot over
I
there.
brought a change of clothes.
Yeah, it's
I
hot over
came,
there.
take a couple pictures, say hi to everybody. I
That's
brought
right.
a change of clothes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yo, Logan, I would love to hear from you. Is there a brewery or multiple breweries that you think from like a digital standpoint, marketing standpoint, social media standpoint that you think are like really crushing the game or that you think do a really good job?
I would say
Other than you, of course.
a couple off the top of my head. Definitely, I think Mortalis. I think their whole branding across the board
I love Mortalis.
is super on point. You can see any Mortalis label and instantly know it's Mortalis.
The dragon.
Any of their merch, anything. Tripping Animals is another one. I feel like, instantly recognizable, with the artists they work with. And
Did you convince Jeremiah to let you go to Irie Jungle this year?
it's funny. I was actually gonna try to go this year, but flights were like $800 or $900, and I was like, I love you guys, but no.
If you only knew, because when we got our tickets, Brandon and I, the other Brandon Gray, I don't know how we've pulled this off, but we found round trip tickets to, and we didn't do Miami, we did Fort Lauderdale. It was only
yeah.
$112 round trip or something like that.
Thank you so much.
Now, granted, we risked our lives on Spirit Airlines, but we made it safe. I had no problems. Somebody told me the seats were uncomfortable. I thought, for me, being a bigger dude, they had enough room and they had more support. People say they're hard, but I like that. I like that stiff support. My back felt great when we got there. It was a red-eye flight. I had no complaints. So I'm like, all right, whatever. All these people talking smack about Spirit. Other than being at LAX, you open up the door to go to the Spirit terminal and you smell weed smoke. I'm like, are we going on the Soul Plane, like Snoop Dogg Soul Plane? But it was a great experience. But yeah, you have to go to.
Oh, I went 2 years ago.
2 years
I think.
ago. Okay.
Yeah, I spent most of 2020 or 2021 just going to almost every beer fest. It was kind of stupid, to be honest. I lost track. I think I went to like 31 or 32 different beer festivals.
No, hey man, all that does is like make you better at your job.
I learned a lot and met a lot of people. I think that's honestly how this all came to be.
No, for sure, man.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, meeting a ton of people and going to all the festivals, and I want to go to more festivals. But that one, I've been to fair share of festivals. And obviously the big one, OctoberFest, which is what we're talking about.
Yes.
But for the United States, so far in the United States, Irie was probably my number one.
Honestly, that was probably one of my favorites I've been to.
It's just really cool. Like, it's got that reggae vibe and like...
Plus, all the guys from the brewery are awesome people.
Shit ton of freaking breweries there. Like, and when I say a shit ton, I mean a shit ton. 85 breweries. I tried to do the challenge, but I didn't make it to all of them. I tried. And it's in Doral, Florida, which is Miami proper. Like, you got that beach climate and just everybody's vibing, chilling, and having a good time. I mean, shit, Brandon and I chugged out of a flamingo. And met some really cool people, had some Cuban sandwiches. I mean, it was a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, and shout out to Prison Pals too, who are out in that area. I know, we're talking, tripping animals, but like Prison Pals, man, they're on some shit out there.
Yeah, they're a great brewery. I've actually told Jeremiah about it. It's something you guys should look into collabs with.
Yeah.
They just barely hit their 1 year anniversary. Great story, those guys coming up and, following the American dream, starting a brewery already in distribution in less than a year. And I can go to Total Wine and find their beer.
I know, man.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
I'll have to put a bug in Jeremiah's ear about it.
Prison Pals. I'll hook you guys up. The owner, Juan, is very cool. The head brewer, Diego. So really cool about Diego is he is like one of those old school brewers, totally certified in all the different styles.
Hell yeah.
He just brews very traditional beers. And then it's funny, the banter between him and Juan. Juan's like, right, that's cool. We brew those traditional beers. Yeah, brew them. But also we're going to make these crazy fruited sours. And Diego's like, no. And Juan's like, do it. And he's like, no. And he's like, almost had to like twist his arm and punch him in the face to do it. And he did it, and they're like their number one selling beers.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, but it's the cool story. Everybody that works there is awesome, and they were great to us. When we went there, we did a podcast with them. We met them at the Irie Jungle. And, check them out, Prison Pals.
Yeah, man, that was a great episode, Justin. Like, love that episode with Prison Pals. Like, great story, great hearing from those dudes, and yeah, man, it was another example of just like, beer is like this entity that, can unite people across the world.
Talk about weird random, like how you got into your position stories.
Right.
Juan, the owner, is a professional race car driver sponsored by Toyota.
Oh,
That's it.
just
In his country.
That's all.
Yeah, and then he was like, I want to get out of this country. I'm going to go to the United States and start a brewery. And then he enlisted Diego's help, the head brewer, and there you go. The rest is history. It's cool, man. They're great people, man. You gotta. I'll introduce you guys.
What's funny is like you hear the name and you see some of their can art. You make assumptions, perhaps, about
Them
how
being
they
prisoners.
met. And I don't like to be like that, but I was like, oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe they like shared the prisons all together. That's how they met.
That was the ongoing joke at Irie. You'd have people coming up to their tent, getting pours, and they'd be like, "So, did somebody like go to prison? Like, what's the deal there?"
Yeah, but listen to the BeerDad and Brewed Podcast episode with Prison Pals, because they explain the etymology of the name, how they came up with it, how they met, how they got into business. It's a beautiful story, incredible beer, highly recommend it. But as we get into this next one, Daniel, I want the same question that I flipped to
This is a dope beer, by the way.
Logan. I would love to flip to you. Is there, as a brewer, I would love to hear a brewery or breweries that you respect, just on a beer level. That you're like, I'm in the grocery store, I'm in the bottle shop, I see a 4-pack, 6-pack, whatever, and I'm like, I'm grabbing that. That's my shit right there.
Hams.
Yeah.
Hams Brewing.
That's a really good question.
It's hard to put you on the spot.
No. It's a good question just because I personally don't head out to too many bottle shops or total wine shops. I get cans whenever I go to breweries.
Okay.
But Enegren, always, anytime anyone says what's one of my favorite breweries, easy, no questions asked. Love Enegren.
Who would your top 3 be?
Enegren, Kilo.
Oh, my
Kilo.
man, Kilo.
I love Kilo with the passion. They're my
Yes, sir.
favorite.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Enegren, Kilo. It's hard to pick a top 3. Because
hard
it's
to
like
pick a top 10.
Once when I'm thinking of my third,
Kings
I'm
Brewing.
Like, yeah.
Jeremiah's gonna listen to
That's-
this.
yeah.
Kings Brewing.
Kings,
Right.
Kings, and Kings.
Dylon.
Aside from Kings, no, because once when I think of my third option, I'm like, oh, but what about? Oh, but there's you know what? I'm a real big fan of Old Stump.
Old Stump.
I'm a real big fan.
There you go. Old
of
Stump is
not-
carried at the Craft Lounge.
Yeah.
I like that.
Wow.
I'm a fan of Old
And wait, remind me, because I know I've definitely heard the Old Stump name. Remind me, if I wanted to find some Old Stump, where would I find that at? Like, what city
Oh,
are they
Old Stump's
from?
in Pomona.
Yeah,
Pomona,
Los Angeles
Okay.
County.
Yeah, Los Angeles.
Close
County.
by, not too far from here.
No,
Not too
at all,
far
not at all.
indeed.
They have their hef is, the Hugh hef is so good. It's fantastic. But
I actually kind of had a question to put Daniel on the spot. If you could, is there a beer style that you want to brew that you
Saison.
haven't? Yeah.
a Saison.
Dang, dude.
Is
Jared,
that
if you're-
old? And he's just
Jared,
like-
if you're listening, I want to brew a Saison.
That rolled off his tongue so fast.
I was thinking he's gonna be like, maybe, but no.
No, there's a lot. There's a Belgian triple is definitely up there. I'm into
You know
really
what
malty
would be
beers.
dope right here? I can see the room. A cool ship right there.
Oh yeah. Oh
Got
yeah.
wild fermentation going.
That's scary. But yeah.
It's scary and beautiful all in one.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, definitely a Saison. Oh man, dude. especially in the summertime. If you guys can pull one off and have it come out next summer.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of saisons. I'm a big fan of Belgian triples. I like malty, real, heavy malty beers,
Nice.
but it's just not really what everyone's go-to is, So it's hard to brew such a big batch of something that's not everyone's go-to.
Yeah, right. The key with I think with saison on the brewing, commercial brewing side, is to come up with a saison either via hops and grain combination or any kind of adjuncts, is to get something that brings people in, right? And this brewery, Kings Brewing, is amazing at doing that. But some of the good gateway saisons that I've ever had have had like maybe pineapple adjuncts into it, something tropical, but still have that funky farmhouse flavor.
I definitely appreciate that, and I definitely understand that, but I think it's just because of my love for Integrin and my love for like the traditionalness of it.
Yes.
It's like, do I really want to add these
it's hard to
adjuncts?
add adjunct, but like I
sucks.
said, you can pull those flavors off with some grain and hop
No, you're right. You're
combinations.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Throw something that brings out stone fruit or citrusy or pineapple flavor in there. But I can tell you, Unseen Creatures in Miami, Florida, they make an amazing saison. That's like their core. They bottle it, and we had it there, and it sucks because Marco was like, I'm going to send you guys home with some bottles, because it's one of my favorite beers I had out there.
Yeah.
And then we forgot because we did, like, this crazy tap takeover there that night with Shoujo Brewing, and, like, you know what happens when you do a lot of drinking all day long.
Oh, yeah.
You forget. And then on top of that, I probably wouldn't have been able to bring it back anyways because I had no room in my suitcase. In fact, funny story, on the way back, picture Brandon and I going up to the sheriff's department at the airport and dropping off beers and donating them to the sheriffs at the Fort Lauderdale airport. And, here in California, they probably would like throw it in the trash right in front of us.
Yeah.
Sergeant comes over. You could tell he was from New York.
Oh.
And he was like, oh, yeah, we'll take those. Let me just go put them over here, and we'll get to take care of them later. Thanks, guys. I was like, whoa, dude. But so I can appreciate that. So at least I know they went to a good home.
There you go. Someone enjoyed it.
Yeah, shout out to the Miami-Dade Police Department.
Got some good craft beers on behalf of the BeerDad and Brewed Podcast.
That's right. Yeah, because my Spirit Airline bag was overweight. I had literally like
Too much beer.
3 pairs of clothes, and the rest was all beer. Yeah.
So, Daniel, you brought up like an interesting thing. As a brewer here at Kings Brewing here in Rancho Cucamonga, I'm sure that you love beer. You drink a lot of beer. You're constantly, I'm sure, coming up with ideas of like, oh wow, this would taste so good in a beer. Wow, I would love to brew this, whatever. How do you, as a brewer, like bring that to the head brewer, the owner, whatever? Like, how does that go about? Like, hey, I have this idea, I want to do this thing, et cetera, et cetera. How does that go about?
So luckily, sorry, real quick though, our last beer was a Pilsner.
Yes.
I think we already drank it. I don't know if we introduced it and drank it already.
I think we did.
Pilsner.
Justin did.
Pilsner.
Yes, Pilsner.
Sweet, wonderful, crispy.
Yes, sir.
To answer your question,
I love it.
luckily in most situations in a craft brewery, it's a pretty small system. It's a pretty small, close-knit community, not only community, but within the company itself. The company's split between D and Jeremiah, and I work directly with D. And at any given point, I see Jeremiah 3 or 4 to 5 times a day. So at any point, I can just be like, hey, we should try. And then we just kind of brainstorm and talk about it. It's really open. It's never like, oh no, I don't like that idea. Don't give me more ideas. Yeah. It's like, that's a good idea. I'm gonna sit on that one. Let me think about it. And if we agree that it's a good idea, we'll put it into fruition. Otherwise, A for effort. But no, it's lovely here because it's so easy to just be like, hey, look, this is what I want to see. Can we make it happen?
Yeah.
And more times than not, it's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, especially when it comes to rosés. Every week we're tasting them and we sit there and go, okay, it's almost ready. It needs more this. It needs more that. Maybe another box of whatever. But
that's honestly one of my favorite parts of working here is, like every Tuesday we'll try a frosé, me and Jeremiah, and it's like, you get that initial like, oh, this is what's dropping, and it's like, oh, does it need this? Does it need that? And then to taste it from that point to the finished product it's a pretty cool experience.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sorry to go back, but I have to graciously put Old Stump on number 4.
Oh,
My
shit.
number 3 is Cerveceria de Pueblo in Pasadena.
Pasadena, yes.
Their Saison. When we started talking about Saisons, it reminded me. Their Saison is wonderful.
Beautiful.
But
Yo, Cerveceria del Pueblo is like very close to the Stone Brewing Company location out in Pasadena.
maybe a block and a half.
Yeah. So anybody that finds themselves out in Pasadena,
Son
you
of
can,
a biscuit.
you can hit.
I was there for a week for work.
Go back.
Yeah. You can hit Stone, and they have. What's beautiful is like they have all the They have a lot of the Stone flagships, and they brew a lot of their own stuff as well. That's very specific to the Pasadena location. And then as Daniel mentioned, there's Cerveceria de Pueblo, which is like a block away, and they brew just like.
They're
beautiful.
Colombian style brewing, so he incorporates a lot of Colombian ingredients to a lot of his brews. So he has like a coffee kolsch with Colombian coffee beans. He has what I believe it's his Pilsner. He put a yerba mate in it, like mint. So it's so good. All the beers are infused with Colombian guava, and it's so good.
That's really cool.
Yeah, man, it's definitely worth checking out. There's also a Venezuelan restaurant. I'm blanking on the name out there in Pasadena. That's also close to Stone and Cerveceria del Pueblo. That I wish I remember the name, but yeah, man.
The only thing that I got out of that trip, and by the way, we'll shout them out, is Brick and Flour. You guys ever ate in there?
No. Sounds
It's a
so familiar.
Doesn't sound like a taco shop, but it's a taco shop.
No, I didn't.
Some of the best carne asada I've ever had in my life.
Really?
And I had a surf and turf burrito. It was carne asada with shrimp, and the shrimp were almost as big as your head, Daniel. I mean, this burrito was huge.
Brick and Flour?
Brick and Flour. Look them up on Instagram. You'll see it. They do like crazy burritos. They do bowls if you're into the protein style. They do, what do you call it? Tacos, quesadillas, like everything. But very basic menu. It's like your meats, and then do you want it burrito, bowl, quesadilla? Like how do you want it? Taco. And then they do, my wife, she's a big sucker for carne asada fries. And they had that. And she ordered it, and she was like, they asked her if she wanted the small or the larger. She's like, I'll get the large, I'm hungry. That shit's for like 4 people.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, it's in Pasadena. So you can go to Pasadena and check out those places. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, there you go. Yeah, man. Hopefully BeerDad and Brewed Podcast can find its way over to Cerveceria del Pueblo.
Maybe. We'll bring Daniel because he likes their
Let me know. I'll be right behind you guys.
We should bring Daniel, but it would be beautiful to like just highlight what they're doing out there, man. Because
cool.
man. Like as Daniel was saying, they're really doing something like different than anyone else out here in Southern California. And they're highlighting like a beautiful part of the craft beer community that perhaps doesn't get enough shine that it should.
Funny story, when I was out there, he, as usual, IDs me. And I was like, oh man, you need my ID? Just jokingly. And he was like, dude, you look like 17. Yeah, I need your ID. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I give him my ID. I go, funny enough, I actually make beer. Like, I look 17, I make. He goes, oh, who do you work with? I go, I work over at Kings. He's like, oh, you work with Jeremiah and D? I go, you know Jeremiah and D? He goes, they're the ones that convinced me to buy my canner. And he goes, I worked with them for like a week canning, trying to figure out their canner. He goes, that's wild. I didn't know you. And I came back and told Jeremiah and D, and they're like, oh yeah. He came over for a couple weeks. Yeah, we know him. Like
That's
a
awesome.
small world.
That's awesome, man.
For sure.
Yeah, see, man, that goes back to like that communal aspect that we were talking about, like breweries, perhaps they might be in competition with one, competition, whatever, but like at the end of the day, everybody just wants to help.
You just want the best competition you can find.
Yeah, man, like good beer just helps other good beer do well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And this was all good beer that we had here, the KBC Lagerhaus offerings. 4 solid offerings. The last one we just had, the Pilsner. Highly recommended to get it as a slow pour.
Oh, yeah.
Get that nice meringue freaking head on top. Oh, my gosh, it locks all that flavor in.
It's wild.
Gets it to the perfect temperature for that style of beer. We had one earlier. It was absolutely delicious. 7 minutes of waiting, right? And like you said, marketing.
The longest 7
Do a milk
minutes.
chug.
Yeah.
Do a milk chug before you get your slow pour. But that was delicious as well. But yeah, this is awesome. So great job, Daniel, and a lot of these beers, and D too. I'm sure he'll hear this. And he was on this show last year. We snuck him in. He didn't even know. He was just talking to us, and he's like, "Are you guys recording this?" Yeah. Great episode, especially when he talks about him and Jeremiah as kids and like stealing toys from each other.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite shit about podcasts. We talk about beer, but I like to hear about some of the crazy shit. You know, people's personal lives or whatever, you know, different hobbies and stuff like that. That was really cool. Like, you know, candid conversation. He had no idea we were recording. It was fun. We sold it to him as like, yeah, if you use the headset and the microphone, like it'll cancel out all the noise and we can talk to each other.
He was like, yeah, all right.
Record.
When I got here last year and I seen him with the headset,
You're like, how did that happen?
Immediately looked to my girlfriend. I was like, I don't know how they did this. I've gotten 4 words out of him, and I've worked with him for 2 years. I don't know how you did this.
Yeah, he let it fly.
Wow,
it was great. It was awesome. So, but yeah, this has been great, man. Like, shout out to Kings Brewing / KBC Lagerhaus and the OctoberFest festivities. I think I want to make this obviously a tradition. This is my 2nd year in a row. So much cool stuff going on. The food, the vendors, the people, the experience. You know, obviously it's probably going to grow and grow and grow and grow every year.
Hopefully.
You know, get different. The beer poking was that was dope, dude. That was really cool. Here in a little bit, we're going to have some Stein holding competitions.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun to watch
yeah.
last year. There was actually a tie between a guy and a gal last year, and then randomly we had the guy on the podcast that.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. I remember that.
Yeah.
Vaguely remember that.
He was like, and it was funny because he told us, he was like, dude, I wasn't even going to come here. It was a last minute decision. I had no idea that I was going to an OctoberFest today, let alone doing a Stein holding contest, let alone going on a podcast. Like he was on cloud 9. It was freaking dope. So I'm looking forward to watching the Stein holding contest. Maybe we'll make Brandon participate in the Stein holding contest.
I don't know if I got it, man. I don't know if I got it.
It's hard.
Like,
It's harder than you think. Those Steins with the beer, they're heavy.
I was practicing at work. I filled up a bucket with water, and I was just trying to hold the bucket.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, once
man.
you get like
Logan
you know,
looked at me, he was like, "You ain't got it." Man.
Yeah, you ain't got it, bro.
I'm
not
trying
that
to
guy.
debate if I want to try to do it. Even I'm like,
Well, the best part was, and people were like, man, because the girls do really good at it, and I always pick a girl to win. And I have a theory behind it. I'm like, childbirth, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something to do
no,
with
it's
it.
for sure.
Men get a cold, and we were the most miserable fucks on the world. Like, you just like, oh my God, we're dying, right? A woman can push a baby out her canal. That is probably the most painful process in the world. So can she tolerate pain holding that Stein for a very long time and beat out some guys? Yes. So my money's on the female side tonight.
Yeah.
Unless there's an experienced Stein holder out there. But yeah, that's usually who I look for to go for the win. So I'll start the odds. I'll get online. I'll make the odds. We'll pick. Once we narrow it down.
I want in on that one.
Yeah. Once we narrow it down and get down to like a field of like 4 or 5 people, I'll be like, all right, I know who's gonna win. Yeah, I got this. 10-1 odds.
Shoot me the odds. I'll be in on it. Real
I'll put
quick.
my Venmo up there. You can throw your money down.
Yo, I just want to say, like, thank you to Logan. Thank you to Daniel. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for giving your perspective.
Yeah, man. Thank you
know,
guys.
on this beautiful industry that I think, means so much to the 4 of us. Yeah, man. This is great hearing from you guys, and hopefully this is one of many.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I
Thank
knew.
you,
I knew.
guys.
I was like, as soon as Daniel gets here, throw a microphone at him.
Better early than later.
Hey, last year it'll be different. We can compare. You can listen last year when you were
When I
really
was
down.
Just like,
Yeah.
hey guys.
You were having a good time. We'll just leave it at that.
Nothing
No.
wrong with that at OctoberFest.
No,
I don't know. That's gonna come here in about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah,
But
that's what OctoberFest is all about. And so now that we're winding down on the podcast, we'll be able to partake in the festivities and have a good time and
Yes, sir.
enjoy ourselves and eat some food and do our stuff. But yeah, definitely thanks again for being on the podcast and doing everything that you guys do. Kings Brewing, Rancho Cucamonga, California. If you've never been here, you have to come. I know that their beers are worldwide, right?
yeah.
China, Japan,
Beijing. Yeah, we're all
the
out.
UK. I mean, we see them
Ship
everywhere.
all out of the United States. We're everywhere.
Absolutely. So But to come to the source and, get something off the tap and, like Brandon was saying earlier, it is a mom and pop organization. I mean, I'm looking right now over here. Doreen's she's sitting right here just with the locals enjoying a beer. She was busting her butt, by the way, earlier, like she always is.
Absolutely.
And Jeremiah was poking beer, and I think he's sitting down with some people too as well somewhere. But yeah, just come and meet people. If Logan's here, say hi to Logan, say hi to Daniel. If he's here, he's usually in his hole brewing somewhere, but he does come to the tap room every once in a while, right? He makes an appearance, but and we're gonna make people follow the Ugly Brewer on Instagram.
If I get more than 50 followers,
follow Ugly Brewer. Woo! Although I gotta say, I'm sitting right next to the guy.
He's not
he ain't ugly. He's a handsome guy.
Good-looking dude.
And I'm not just trying to say that because I'm trying to get close to him. He's a handsome guy.
I think Brandon's looking to get poked. The beer, that is. Hey, you sick listeners, you. Yeah. So, but yeah, and thank you to Logan. Thanks for sitting down with us and setting this up and doing everything you do.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, before we sign off, Grandma. She's been out in the car. I saw her
She's hot.
come
we
out.
Didn't roll the window down.
Well, I saw her come out of the car because she needed to use the bathroom. And when she came out of the bathroom, she looked at the menu. She was trying to decide between KBC Lagerhaus. Do I go Frosé? I mean, it's OctoberFest. Anyway, I think she's out there. She's doing her thing. She's dancing with lederhosen and whatnot. But she's out there, and I think she had a couple things to say.
She does. So with that being said, thanks again to Kings Brewing for having the BeerDad and Brewed Podcast and OctoberFest. Prost to everybody celebrating OctoberFest everywhere. Grandma, where are you at?
They also practice by drinking the urine of a ram.
The what?
They drink ram's piss.
Because of the pH balance?
No, because if you can drink ram's piss, fuck, you can drink almost anything.
She said, fuck.
Oh, what is the malted liquor? What gets you drunk or quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chug it. Beer. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. Beer. I could really use it. Beer.
I can't remember how much I have had. I drank a 12-pack with my dad.